What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. And this whole situation with Bob Chapek and Ron Desantis and the Florida parental rights bill and all of that kind of stuff, this is just one big cautionary tale, okay? Always stand on your square, okay? You guys will hear me say that phrase a lot. And what I mean by it is, look, if you think you're right about a situation, stand on that position, okay? And then be prepared to back up your position with your facts, with your information, with your data, whatever, okay? And also be open-minded, okay? Hear the counterpoint. But if you're right and you haven't been convinced otherwise, stand on your square, right? And that's what Bob Chapek didn't do, right? Because according to this information, basically Bob Chapek, and we kind of figured that this was the case, but Bob Chapek was against all of that stuff when all of these people were coming out against the bill in Disney out there in Florida. Bob Chapek was kind of like, I'm not really with all of that. I don't really understand all of that stuff. And Ron Desantis basically describes this in his book. I'm going to go ahead and jump right to the part that we're talking about. And of course, this article is on Deadline. So here's what it says, basically. Fox News Digital, which obtained the chapter, reported DeSantis' account. The governor wrote that as the controversy swirled around the proposed legislation, Bob Chapek, then the CEO of Disney, called him and talked about the pressure he was getting to speak out against the legislation. As the controversy over the parental rights and education bill was coming to a head, Chapek called me. He did not want Disney to get involved, but he was getting a lot of pressure to weigh in against the bill, DeSantis wrote. Now keep in mind, this is the CEO of the company getting pressure, okay? I would have been, y'all know how I would have took that, like pressure from, what pressure? Okay, I'm the CEO and my answer is, no, I'm not doing it. But nevertheless, according to the book, Chapek told the governor, we get pressured all the time, but this time is different. I haven't seen anything like this before. As the bill was making its way through the state legislature last March, many Disney employees were upset that the company was not speaking out against it. Chapek eventually reversed himself and disclosed that he had talked to DeSantis. Chapek told shareholders that he called to express our disappointment and concern that if the legislation becomes law, it could be used to unfairly target gay, lesbian, non-binary, and transgender kids and families. That's not what the man said, according to DeSantis. That's not what he said at all. He said, I don't want Disney to be involved whatsoever with this whole thing. He probably just wants to go out there and make money. That's what his job is as CEO. Hey, turn a profit for the shareholders. That's his number one job. All right. And basically this part right here, this is all related to ESG, right? Environmental and social governance, that these standards have been placed over all of these companies. Their main focus is diversity, equity, and inclusion. You'll hear ESG and DEI. That stuff is thrown out there constantly, right? And those are the issues, right? ESG is the culprit for these companies. You see, what happens is you got to check all of these boxes off, right, when you're hiring people, okay? You can't just hire people because they're good employees, okay? You got to hire them because they're either a person of color, right, or they're a woman, or they fall under the identity of LGBTQ, okay? And then you have all of these diversity hires to basically satisfy that ESG quota or that ESG initiative that you have. In order to get all of this money from all of these various institutions and investment companies, you have to follow their rules, okay? And their rules say, hey, we need so many women, we need so many people of color, we need so many people that identify as LGBTQ. All right. You bring all of these cats in here, and it's not only enough just to hire them. OK, then you got to elevate them. Right. You say, oh, well, a certain percentage of your upper management needs to be that. A certain percentage of your executives need to be under these particular check boxes. OK, so that's what these companies do, like Disney. They run out there and they hire a bunch of people that check. OK, we got all the check boxes met. Perfect. All right. But then what these cats do in here is they get in there and they cause all kind of chaos. They come in with their personal agendas, their personal mission statements, okay? The stuff that they are here for, and none of that has anything to do with entertaining people, okay? That's why you could get the Proud Family doing that 1619 Project crap, because they don't really care about the entertainment. What? Entertainment? We ain't trying to entertain, all right? We're trying to preach, sermonize. We got a personal mission statement in our hearts that we're trying to push, okay? And that's where all the racism stuff comes in, the sexism, all of that stuff comes from that standard. All right. And that's what Disney has gotten themselves into hot water with. But then what ends up happening is your company tanks and loses all kinds of money. You then need to fire all kinds of people. And guess who the first people are to go? These cats that they just hired, that these dudes brought nothing to the company but woe and misery. They brought nothing to the company but lost profits. Get woke, go broke. That's what happens. It's the same story over and over. And look, DeSantis said he warned Chapek in the call that if the company got involved, people like me will say, gee, how come Disney has never said anything about China where they make a fortune? He said that he told Chapek that while the company would face 48 hours of outrage when the bill passed, and then when he signed it, the furor would dissipate. Don't you notice that there's a news cycle, okay? Every couple of weeks, something hits the news cycle, right? And it's the biggest thing in the whole wide world. Everybody's talking about it and everybody's all up in arms about it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, what happened to that thing? Wasn't there just like a big shooting, or wasn't there some other nonsense that was going on in the world, okay? Some big bill that was supposed to pass, and it's just all kinds of chaos and mayhem. Nothing, okay? DeSantis got reelected as governor. Even though he passed that bill, he got reelected overwhelmingly, right? By a landslide. Like, this guy had nothing to worry about. He knew, like, look, I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and whatever happens, happens, but I think I'm right, and I'm going to stand on my square, all right? So like I said, let this be a cautionary tale to all of you guys that are always just kind of bending and flowing with the wind or whatever. Stand on your position. And like I said, just be willing and open-minded to hear the other side, the counterpoint. That's fine. I absolutely believe in that. But at the end of the day, you stand on what you believe. And if you're right, you're right. And look, Chapek has completely destroyed Disney because of this, all right? As we saw here, Disney has to cut about 7,000 jobs and slash $5.5 billion in costs as it unveils vast restructuring. Yeah, you know, Bob Chapek was probably the right guy at the right time for the job because he was a number cruncher. Okay, that's what his job was. Okay, he couldn't deal with all of the pressure coming from these other guys. Okay, he was like, look, I'm just here to crunch the numbers and get the business back into the black. All right, that's my job. That's what I'm here to do. All right. And he couldn't do his job, unfortunately, because guess what? He got all of these woke cats up here. Hey, never cuck to the woke mob. Let me just say that. Never cuck to the woke mob. Stop apologizing. Stop saying, oh, I'm so sorry that my personal opinion didn't match up with whatever. Oh, well. You know, like I said, you can listen to the other side and hear what they have to say and be open-minded. But if they can't convince you, okay, that this is the right, course of action, then you just say, hey, you know what? I'm sorry. Too bad, so sad. I mean, don't get me wrong. You got to wordsmith it with some of these guys, okay? That's the job of the CEO. You're supposed to be smooth and calm under pressure and just kind of smooth things out and be like, hey, this is where the business needs to go, okay? So, because honestly, I think that's the thing that probably if he had stood on that position, he would probably still be the CEO today. Okay, because, everybody would have been like, well, that was a tough decision he had to make, but he made it. And here we are. And he didn't say a word about it. And you would have said, hey, you know what? We're focused on entertaining the people. That's what we're doing. All right. But as you can see, once again, when you get woke, you end up losing all kinds of stuff like 7,000 jobs, people that probably shouldn't have been there in the first place. All them diversity hires, I'm pretty sure that's them. And then $5.5 billion in costs. All right. You got to get rid of some of this bloat. All right. We're not making money anymore. All right. And I'm pretty sure all of these institutions that keep pushing the ESG stuff, I'm pretty sure they're going to eventually start, yeah, you know what? Let's lay off of that a little bit, okay? Let's pretend. Like, let's do the pretend thing, right? We're all in entertainment. We're all about play pretend and acting. Let's go ahead and pretend that we care about this stuff. But the reality is we're all about that bottom line. Let's get that back, okay? But anyway, folks, what do you think about this situation? It's just a real quick one. I thought it was just hilarious that, after all is said and done, this dude lost his job. What did he gain out of that? Okay, by bending to the woke mob, what did he gain out of all of that? Absolutely nothing. Lost his job, lost that Disney special tax status for the state of Florida or whatever, now Disney's paying up the yazoo, okay? Lost his own reputation, all right? This guy basically looks like a chump, all right? And Disney still has to cut jobs, losing money and everything, all of that. So ultimately, what did he get out of that? Nothing. But anyway, folks, go ahead, get down in the comments, give me your thoughts and your opinion on that. And thanks for watching. See you next time.